please, if you can, go follow my Instagram. It is full of stuff. So far, we got 18 followers, mixed between people that know my channel and people who don't. Please, if you have an Instagram account, please follow me. And also, if you have a Facebook account, follow my new Facebook page. There's not much on it so far, but I'm hoping to expand on that in the future. Now you're wondering, D the B, how do you find these amazing platforms? Well, obviously, go to my main channel, and there will be a tab with my Instagram link and my Facebook link. With that out of the way, let's get started with the video. If you read the title of this video and saw the thumbnail, yes, the Book of Boba Fett is a disaster. Originally, I was excited for this show. I thought this show had a good chance of being good. Unfortunately, I was wrong. And there is so much wrong with this show, which I will be getting to. There are 7 episodes in all, and I'm going to be covering all 7 in this video to explain why Book of Boba Fett is a disaster. So the episode begins with Boba Fett in a bantha tank. And while he's in the bantha tank, he's having all these flashbacks of his life, which I didn't hate. Like, I've heard some people complain about the flashbacks in the show. I actually don't hate them. Well, kind of. Like, I like some of the flashbacks they did, like when they referenced Boba Fett holding Jango's helmet. I liked that. And the Sarlacc pit, it was cool, I'll say that. Of course, he still could have used his jetpack. First, the Mandalorian forgot his jetpack. Now, Boba Fett? Yeesh, what's up with these shows? So, let's continue on with the flashback with, where Boba Fett escaped from the Sarlacc pit. We find out how he escapes, and we also get to find out how Boba Fett lost his armor, which we already kind of knew from the Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 1, where it was stolen by the Jawas. And then they knock Boba Fett out after Boba Fett tries fighting back against them. Where then later, Boba Fett is taken by the Tusken Raiders, where he would be enslaved by the Tusken Raiders. And Boba Fett is tied up to a pole, and the little Tusken Raiders are hitting him like a piñata. When I first saw the Tusken Raiders appear in the show and dragging him off, I'm like, man, we're back on track with the Tusken Raiders, because the Tusken Raiders aren't these softies that the Mandalorian created. They're savages, basically. Because if they were this soft and reasonable, they wouldn't have taken Shmi Skywalker. So then, after that, during the night, Boba Fett tries escaping, and he tries freeing this one, guy who is the same species as Greedo, and this guy is an idiot, because he starts shouting, and the Tusken Raiders catch Boba Fett, eventually, after some tribe girl defeats him. And then after Boba Fett is then woken up by Fennec Shan. And then Boba Fett mentions that how he had that dream again. And then Fennec Shan said to get ready, because the people are going to pay respect to Boba Fett, which means basically giving them money. And then, after Fennec Shan leaves, Boba Fett then puts on his armor, and then he goes to Jabba's palace, well, the throne room anyway, and he begins chatting with this one creature who I forgot the entire species of in Star Wars, and we have this whole joke where, like, did you understand any of that? And Fennec Shan's like, want to start a friendship or something like that. And then we get a joke, we really need a protocol droid. Which, I guess that's something you could slip in there to show what happens when you don't have a protocol droid. I don't know. Then after that, one of Boba Fett's old employers comes in and offers tribute to him by handing him like a fur rug or something like that. And then after that, we get the assistant of the mayor of a city in Tatooine, which, oh my gosh, I hated this guy so much. I really hated him. He is unbelievably annoying. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but he's just so annoying. And how he didn't die in the first episode, or at least got a warning shot, surprises me, because all I wanted to do when I watched the episode, if it were possible, is to jump in the screen, grab Boba Fett's gun, and shoot him. He was that annoying. You say Jar Jar Binks is annoying? Screw that. We got this guy now. He just drove me nuts. So anyway, after the mayor's assistant and Boba Fett talk, they decide to go around the town or something like that and start collecting tributes. And in the process of that, we see this cantina where he is going to collect his first tribute. After he gets his tribute, then he is immediately attacked by assassins. And in the process, Boba Fett gets injured and tells Fennec Shand to grab one of the assassins and to make sure that one of them is alive. Which, of course, Fennec Shand then does capture a assassin. And then the pig guards... Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, there are 2 rogue pig guards who join Boba Fett in this show. The 2 pig guards put Boba Fett in his back the tank, so then he can recover, and the episode ends with Boba Fett facing off this monster on Tatooine in his flashbacks, and then earning the respects of the Tusken Raiders, which this is where I lost faith in the Tusken Raiders in the show, because here we are again in Disney canon. They're messing up the Tusken Raiders again, because Disney can't have savages, apparently. Okay, let's get to the second episode. So the second episode opens up with Boba Fett and Fennec Shand trying to get the information out of the assassin to who tried to kill Boba Fett, which leads to the Rancor. Well, sending him down the Rancor pit, which then we find out the assassin was hired by the mayor, which, of course, then we get the joke that the Rancor cage is empty because Return of the Jedi. So then they immediately go to the mayor to ask why he tried killing him, which the mayor easily passed off that the assassin was a criminal or something like that. He gave him money, and then it turns out that the cousins of Jabba the Hutt have returned, which, of course, we find out that Jabba's palace has been passed on to his cousins, but Boba Fett will not give up that easily. And then the Hutts flee to wherever and will fight another day. And basically the rest of the episode is mostly a flashback. It's like back in Boba Fett's Tusken Raider village, and he's learning to train but unfortunately at the same time this train is coming by Tatooine and they're shooting the Tusken Raiders, and in the process of that, Boba Fett goes to wherever he needs to go to stop the train people by going to Tashi Station. I didn't know this originally. I just thought this was a random place. But no, we actually get to see Tashi Station. And also, we get to see Luke Skywalker's old friends from a deleted scene in A New Hope, which I forget their names. If anyone knows their names, tell me in the comments. But yeah, that was a nice detail to find out. So, this biker gang is basically causing trouble and mayhem where one of Luke's friends tries standing up to them, which, of course, the biker gang gangs up on them. And then Boba Fett just beats them all up, then takes their motorbikes, then goes back to the village and says to his fellow people that he will train them how to ride them. Eventually, after a training session, they go to stop the train. Eventually, they do. And then we find out the Pikes are involved, which I gotta say this. The Pikes in the show look ugly. Why do you say that? You might be asking. Because this is a terrible adaptation. It's a terrible adaptation of what the Pikes could look like in live action. So the Pikes are this organization, this criminal organization that sells spice throughout the galaxy, which spice is like a fuel source for weapons, if I'm remembering right. And they just look ugly here. Like, we got these creatures, they got like hexagon heads or something like that, and a little tiny little alien face. Here's a picture of them in the Clone Wars, and then in live action they just look like catfish people. Like, if this was another race, I'm like, I'm fine with it. But knowing this is the Pikes, they look ugly. Like, this looks like a whole different species than the Pikes. Here's a comparison between the two. Like, when I saw them, I just hated the designs. So then Boba Fett says that you need to pay us to go through our territory and that stuff. Then they do a ritual with Boba Fett where he has to put this little lizard in his nose, and he has to go through the spirit realm or whatever. And then Boba Fett grabs a stick from a tree that tries wrapping over him, and then he uses the tree branch that he broke off the tree to make his signature weapon from the Mandalorian. And we also get to see him being formed in his attire from the Mandalorian, which I'll admit, that's a nice detail. Unfortunately, the Mandalorian is why Boba Fett acts the way he does in this show, unfortunately. But yeah, continuing on, let's go to episode 3. So episode 3 opens up with another flashback, but in the middle of one of his flashbacks, Boba Fett is completely taken out of the bantha tank by the Wookiee bounty hunter, Black Chrysanthemum. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Here's a picture of him. And I have to say, he is my favorite part about the show. I forgot to mention him in the previous episode, but he was my favorite. So he pulls Boba Fett out of the bantha tank and starts to try to kill him. And near the end of their fight, he gets trapped in the Rancor pit, where then Boba Fett puts on a bathrobe after being attacked, which, that is so stupid. Like, wouldn't you want to be all armored up instead of looking like you're in a bathrobe? Oh my gosh, the nerve of this show. Okay, so I need to explain my problem with Boba Fett in this show, because you're wondering, what's wrong with Boba Fett? Boba Fett is a weakling in this show. Throughout the show, we learn that Boba Fett wants to rule with respect as the new crime boss in Tatooine, or Daniel, or whatever. And I guess that's fine, even though it's not Boba Fett's character. But here's the problem. He's way too freaking nice. Like, imagine all these mob bosses, and then there's this nice mob boss who doesn't take everything seriously. Do you think, A, they're going to treat him with respect and not try anything mischievous? B, take him down instantly and rob his place? Or C, make a plate of cookies? If you guess B, you're correct. Like, you can be a respectful crime boss, but you gotta still take yourself seriously. You gotta show you don't want to get on this guy's bad side. You want to stay on his good side. like, you could be respectful, but you gotta also be a threat so no one takes advantage of you. Because you would be the worst crime boss ever. I'm just saying. So, we continue. But continuing on, Boba Fett in the morning meets up with the Hutts that Dark Chrysanthemum was with last time. And in exchange for trying to kill Boba Fett, the Hutts give him a new Rancor, which that was a detail I actually kind of liked. Because you're obviously going to need a new Rancor to rule the world, or use for the palace, I should say. And Boba Fett wants to hand back Black Chrysanthemum, but the Hutts say that you can keep him or something like that. Which after they leave, Boba Fett sends Dark Chrysanthemum free to do whatever he wants. Then, and after they bring the Rancor into the palace, Boba Fett wants to build a connection with the new Rancor, and he starts petting it like a dog, which that's an issue with the show. It keeps executing a lot of the animals in Star Wars as just dogs. Even things like giant beasts or those the bantha. And yes, that's a meme. There's a meme like where Tamara Morrison's like a bantha or something like that. So then he's interrupted by, I think it was the droid, and we talk to this moisture farmer or something like that. Yeah, it is a moisture farmer. And the moisture farmer explains that there's this biker gang who keeps stealing his stuff. So Boba Fett needs to take care of them. But in the process, it turns out that Boba Fett hires these individuals, which are enhanced beings, which have mechanical add-ons. Like, there's one with a mechanical arm, there's one with a mechanical leg, there's one with a mechanical eye, which I could buy it, because something like that in Star Wars does make sense, because there have been beings with mechanical arms, and I can actually see something like this in Star Wars where they want to replace body parts with these mechanical parts to make them more powerful. I can actually buy that. And then the moisture farmer is upset that Boba Fett isn't teaching them a lesson, which then Boba Fett takes them. Then they become his personal entourage. Now, I gotta talk about this gang real quick. They look silly. Like, as much as I didn't completely hate the episode, I will admit, these are the Star Wars Power Rangers, as the internet has been saying. Like, their bikes look so stupid. They don't belong in Star Wars. Like the blue one, for example. Do you know what that reminded me of instead of Star Wars? It reminded me of that little blue Transformer named Squeaks from the last night. I know, this is Star Wars, not Transformers, but I had to bring it up. So, then the biker gang and Boba Fett go to the mayor's office, where then we meet up with the mayor's assistant again. Great. Can we blast him this time? The mayor's assistant explains that the mayor is currently in a meeting, but Boba Fett wants to talk to him now. So the assistant goes in, but it takes forever, and it turns out that the assistant is trying to escape, which he sends the biker gang to go after him, which then they do this whole big chase thing. And a point that a friend of mine brought up that I need to bring up in this video is these bikes shouldn't be in Tatooine, a desert planet, for crying out loud, because it's a desert planet, and if something like that nice was on Tatooine, it would immediately get stolen. I'm just saying. But continuing on, they eventually catch the mayor's assistant, and I think that's it. Oh, no, wait. No, there's one more thing. And then we find out the mayor has aligned himself with the Pikes. Yay, we get to see those terrible abominations again. All right, episode 4, baby. All right, so episode 4 opens up with. Before we get started with episode 4, I just have to slip this in real quick because I thought this started episode 4, but in episode 3, Boba Fett's tribe gets wiped out, and he's also. But that out of the way, let's get back to episode 4. So episode 4 opens up with Boba Fett in a bantha tank because why not? And he is basically going rogue. Well, he's on his own, I should say. And in the process of his adventure, he finds Fennec Shan, which makes sense because we have to connect it to season 2, even though technically Fennec Shan should be dead from being shot where she was shot. But hey, no one in Star Wars dies. Maul was one exception. Well, now he should have died too, but I don't know anymore. So he finds her, and Boba Fett takes her to the modification place where you can replace certain body parts with mechanics. And that's basically how she had the whole mechanical insides from the Mandalorian. And of course, when she wakes up, her and Boba Fett discuss why he saved her and why he doesn't want to be a bounty hunter anymore, because crime bosses are idiots that get their bounty hunters killed, which was actually kind of funny because it is actually kind of true in a way. So then they discuss that Boba Fett needs to grab his ship, and yes, Disney, it's still called Slave One. Don't try that with me. So Boba Fett and Fennec Shan sneak into Jabba's palace, which is heavily guarded. And once they get through all the obstacles and grab the ship, they return to the Sarlacc pit to find Boba Fett's armor. Wait, what? Boba Fett, do you not remember getting knocked out by the Jawas as they were stealing your armor? How do you forget that? You don't remember climbing out of the Sarlacc pit. You're an idiot. The lack of consistency in the show. So they keep looking, but then the Sarlacc pit grabs the ship, which then Boba Fett uses one of the Slave One's bombs, which make that boom sound effect that I love so much. I love that sound effect so much. And then Boba Fett asks where he wants him to drop off Fennec Shan, but then she decides to join him. And then we can get the Pikes storyline. So Boba Fett is trying to rally as many troops as he can, and he keeps contact with the biker gang so they can get, his biker gang, not the biker gang that he totally beat the absolute crap out of. Yeah, that's my first time saying that kind of thing. And in the process of the episode, we see Black Chrysanthemum again, which I did appreciate. I like Black Chrysanthemum. And he gathers all the generals of Jabba the Hutt, and Boba Fett basically explains why they should help him and not the Pikes, where they eventually join him, and I think that's the end of the episode. So now let's get into episode 5. Episode 5 was actually very good, or at least decent at best. It wasn't that bad of an episode, but I think the only reason it was because Mando was in it, because I don't think it would have survived if it weren't for Mando. So we open up with the episode with this Star Wars butcher shop, and the Mandalorian comes by the boss of the butcher shop to hunt him down. And in the process, they get into a fight, And then we get this epic shot of Mando cutting the boss in half. I'm like, whoa, I haven't seen anything like that with a lightsaber in a long time. Because Disney Star Wars really hates using the lightsabers, like cutting off limbs for some reason. Even though it has been established through the previous 6 films. I don't know. I don't get lightsabers anymore in Disney canon. But he grabs the head of the butcher boss, takes the head to his employer, which after he delivers the head and gets the money, he then meets up with 2 other Mandalorians. And not just 2 ordinary Mandalorians, but the Armorer and Pre Vizsla, or Tar Vizsla. I don't know. It's that big, bulky Mandalorian from season 1 and the Armorer, which I really did appreciate. I liked this. It was nice to see these 2 again. And in the process, Mando shows the Armorer his lightsaber. Well, the dark saber, I should say. And her and Mando train. And also in the process, at some point, Mando melts the spear, the Beskar spear from season 2, and he decides to make armor for the Fowling, but not any specific Fowling, Grogu, which I guess, and he says it's a part of his Kree, even though Mando did give Grogu to Luke, which technically makes him a Padawan. So, yeah, that happens. Then Tar, or Pre Vizsla, wants to challenge Mando for the dark saber because he feels like he's not worthy for it, which they fight. Mando technically wins, and the armor asks both of them if they've removed their helmet or it has been removed by anyone else, which Mando tells them that he removed his helmet, and they say he's no longer a Mandalorian. So he leaves, and then he goes to Tatooine to find this new spaceship that the mechanic lady from the previous 2 seasons of The Mandalorian has found him a new ship. And it's not a new Razor Crest or anything like that. It's one of the Naboo ships from the Phantom Menace. Yes. I like how they're including some prequel stuff in here. Yes, you could call it nostalgia baiting, but I'd rather them have some stuff from the prequels and the originals than just favoring the originals like the sequels did. So they modify the Naboo starfighter and they take it out for a test run, which it goes very well. Mando decides to take the ship, and then after that, Mando is then met up with Fennec Shan, which says Boba Fett needs his help, which then he said, I'll go help you guys after I see an old friend, which is Grogu. So now we get to episode 6. So episode 6 takes off where episode 5 left off, and he wants to see Grogu, so he goes on to the planet that Luke is building his Jedi Academy on, and he talks to Ahsoka because R2 brings Mando to Ahsoka, and they start discussing, and then we get to see Luke training Grogu, which that was actually kind of nice to see. Luke training Grogu, because I don't think we would have gotten much for Mandalorian Season 3, to be honest. And Mando is wanting to see Grogu, but he doesn't also want to take him away from his training, so he gives the gift to Ahsoka, and he wants her to give it to him, which then Mando leaves. Then Ahsoka and Luke talk, And he gives Luke the gift for Grogu, and he's like, I don't know what to do because I feel like Grogu doesn't belong or something like that. So then Ahsoka then leaves again, which was disappointing. I saw the clip ahead and I thought she was a part of the new Jedi Order. Nope. She was only there for a little bit, which sucks. Then Mando returns to Boba Fett, and Boba Fett is playing a strategy plan against the Pikes. And Mando said he'll get some new recruits, and he goes to Cog Vanth, which much later, Cog Vanth is killed by a legend. One of the best characters of Star Wars, the Clone Wars. That's right, Cad Bane. Cad Bane makes his first live action appearance in this show, and when I first saw Cad Bane, I was hyped. And so was my brother. He was so hyped for Cad Bane because even if you like the Clone Wars or not, you have to admit Cad Bane is a very cool character that Clone Wars had created. So after Cad Bane kills Cog Vanth, he then says that the Pikes will leave this area alone after their operations are done. And that's where Then we transition back to Luke's temple, where he presents Grogu with a choice. Choose the armor, and he goes back with Mando, or choose Yoda's lightsaber and join him in the Jedi Academy and become his first student. Which I gotta talk about this real quick. Two things. One, how did he get Yoda's lightsaber? Before I bring up my second point, how did he get this lightsaber? It was lost in Revenge of the Sith. Okay, my second point. How did Luke get the saber if it was destroyed? Now you're wondering, D the B, what are you talking about? Okay, so in Disney canon, there was a comic, in one of the Vader comics, we see Yoda's lightsaber being one of the very first lightsabers to be destroyed after Order 66 because they wanted to show like a revolution or something like that. And the lightsaber explodes. Like, I can only imagine how long that would take to repair Yoda's lightsaber. If there was barely anything left, it would just be the metal, and that's it. No kyber crystal. That would have exploded. Here is Disney, once again, messing up their own canon. Oh my gosh, Disney canon's so confusing. Because they keep retconning everything. I prefer Legends, thank you very much. Alright, let's get into episode 7. So episode 7 opens up where the last episode left off. Boba Fett is gathering as many soldiers as he can. And all he has right now is Mando, Fennec Sham, his biker gang, the Space Power Rangers. I should call them the Space Power Rangers. Black Chrysanthemum, and so-called generals of Jabba the Hutt. Then after those guys talk, we get to see Cad Bane again, and he is talking to the Pike organization, and they're wondering if there are any allies that Boba Fett could use to fight against the Pikes. The mayor mentioned that Boba Fett used to hang out with the tribe of Tusken Raiders, which the Pikes said they already took care of it and framed the biker gang that Boba Fett beat the crap out of. And then after the logo and that stuff, we go back to the mechanic from the Mandalorian's area, and guess who returns? Baby Yoda. I know you're going to go like, D the B, what's wrong with that? There is so much wrong with it. Like sure, maybe it's nice to see the character again, but it makes season 2 kind of pointless. Because if you paid attention, liked it or hated it, the main arc of season 2 was to get Grogu to a Jedi so the Jedi can take them under their wing. And then here we are after episode 6. Luke's just like, nope, you can have him back. It's so dumb. Like, maybe an arc like this could have worked, but according to the continuity that I searched, this show doesn't take that far off from Mandalorian Season 2. Yes, Luke maybe had him like for a month or two. That's it. Oh my gosh, the lack of consistency in this show. It's so dumb. Anyway, Boba Fett and the others are planning to fight against the Pikes, which unfortunately they are outnumbered because the generals start turning on them, and also the Pike organization, and we even get to see Cad Bane. Cad Bane mentions how the Pikes are the ones who killed Boba Fett's Tusken Raider family. The episode is pretty much action, fighting each other, and all that stuff. Eventually, Boba Fett brings the Rancor, his Rancor to the battle, which eventually the Rancor is technically scared off by Cad Bane, and Boba Fett have this standoff, just like in the deleted Clone Wars episode, or arc, should I say. It was an arc. And Cad Bane gets the first shot at Boba Fett. Then, as Cad Bane has Boba Fett cornered, then Boba Fett gets rid of Cad Bane's gun and then flips him on the ground and points his spear at him. Then Cad Bane tries roasting him, and then Boba Fett stabs him in the chest with his thing. Alright, so I'd be okay with this if they had developed Cad Bane and Boba Fett's relationship in the Clone Wars, or let's say if it's Boba Fett Season 2 or something like that, instead of just introduce the main villain in one episode and then kill him off in the next one. It's so dumb. Oh my gosh. And they made Cad Bane die like a punk. His death wasn't satisfying. It was just meh. It would have been cool if they developed it right, but no. They didn't do that. I know the arc is technically canon because of the Bad Batch, but I don't know. They should have developed this arc more. So then they do some more fighting. The Rancor goes all berserk. Mando and Baby Yoda reunite again after the Rancor has been stopped and all the Pikes are dead. They cut any loose ends that funded the Pike organization, and then Mando and Baby Yoda leave, and that's the episode. I gotta tell you this. This episode was an hour. How did all that fit an hour? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think now is a good time to stop Star Wars. Well, watching modern Star Wars, because this show is a mess. Boba Fett is messed up in the show. Cad Bane dies like a punk. Season 2 of Mandalorian is pointless. This show. I think, as I said, I think I'm done with Star Wars when it comes to the modern stuff. I don't care anymore. I don't care about Kenobi. I don't care about Bad Batch Season 2, which is disappointing because I didn't hate Season 1. Oh my gosh. I think now is a great time to stop. That doesn't mean I'm gonna stop talking about Star Wars. I'll keep making videos on the older stuff. I'll keep making my fan films for Star Wars until 2023. And I think that's about it. And maybe even do a review on the original 6 movies, and maybe even get my thoughts on the sequel trilogy out, besides Rise of Skywalker, which hated that film. But I'm done. What did I have to rate this series? I have to give it a 2 out of 10. This show sucked. It had its moments here and there, but it still sucks. They couldn't even mention Django, for crying out loud. Like, maybe Boba Fett turning to a good guy could have involved... Maybe Django's death could have been one part of why Boba Fett turned into a good guy. Maybe, but no. Oh my gosh, this show's so dumb. Alright, that's my review. What do you think of it? If you like it, that's fine. I just had to tell you how bad it is. Well, that's it, everyone. Have a nice day. And as I end the video, I'm going to end the video with Tamara Morrison's personal opinions on the Book of Boba Fett.
In fact, in the beginning, I was trying to get past my lines on to Ming Na. And I'd always say, excuse me, director, I really feel that Ming Na should say these lines because I want to stay mysterious. Right. I want to stay quiet.
But then I caught on. He wasn't just trying to be a very generous actor, which he is. He was just trying to parlay some of the work to me.
Yes, shifting his responsibility. So, yeah, but, and even when... Because, well, obviously, John's one of the key writers. So, and so sometimes I'd always say, I think this is too much. I think this is too much. Then I'd go to, what was the other guy's name? Noah. I'd try and get...
Oh, Noah, yes, Noah. Mm-hmm.
I remember, of course, John actually went away to Atlanta, so I rang Noah that night, and I said, Noah, the scene tomorrow, I'm talking too much. This Boba doesn't talk this much. Look, I've got all these paragraphs here. I think we should get rid of it. And John's gone to Atlanta, so don't tell him. And then next minute that morning, I said, I get a call from Atlanta. John wants you to say all that dialogue.